All right, everybody, welcome back to Bourbon Banter Evans, and today we are doing our first edition of Bourbon Court, and today on the docket we have good old Eagle Rare versus Henry McKenna, both of them 10-year. Justin?
So you're saying we got a 10-year giant versus another 10-year giant, being a Heaven Hill versus a Buffalo Trace brand? Sounds like a good time. So let's take it to the judge then. Everybody, I'd like to welcome Zach. He's with All Equal Parts. He is a professional mixologist and a professional cocktail maker, also known as a bartender. And we have invited him in with his professional palate. We are going to convince him that I am presenting my case with my matching distillery here.
Yep.
Evan Williams and Heaven Hill.
Here we have
my McKenna is going to take on, in a head-to-head, your Eagle Rare from Buffalo Trace, which is not too far away in Kentucky, but both great, amazing 10-year bourbons. And just to verify that you are wearing that shirt that matches your brand, I'm wearing a shirt, and I'm also wearing really cool bourbon socks, like always.
And he does have the socks on.
The judge verifies.
The judge has verified. He has spoken.
There we go.
So, Zach, do you mind telling us a little bit about your judging and what we're going to do and what to look for, just for a brief moment, so that I didn't slip you $1 I wanted to, but if I did want some help, tell us a little bit about your taste and what to expect from this, and we're about to pour these up.
So I'm coming into this as impartial as I can be. Obviously, I've tried both of these products many, many times. I do have some preconceived notions about these products. I do enjoy both of them, so I'm going to try to keep all that behind me for tonight and try to come into these as open-minded as possible and allow these two lovely gentlemen to convince me which one is the better whiskey.
And we appreciate you joining us again at All Equal Parts.
Yeah.
And he makes awesome stuff. You guys check him out if you get a chance at All Equal Parts on Instagram. I think he's on social media, other social media as well, like Facebook and things of that nature. So now I am pouring the Eagle Rare. This will be on my right. I've got Henry McKenna going to be on the left. And then we will go in a head-to-head battle, and I will convince this judge at this moment with these bourbons that are great in front of us why Henry McKenna is better. And I won't pour yours for you since you were talking, so I did that one for you the first time.
Well, thank you, sir.
Trying to get the perfect pour, huh?
That was pretty close.
Yeah.
So
we did flip coins. I deferred, so Justin gets to go first.
All right, well, court is in session. Judge, a judge, just anybody can be a judge. In this case, our judge is Zach, so we're just going to go with judge.
Okay.
Judge.
I feel really special now, Justin. Thank you.
So, thank you for being our first judge. That being said, Judge, I would like to present Henry McKenna to you as a 10-year single-barrel bottled and bond. At one point of its time, it was the oldest single-barrel bottled and bond for that specific thing. It is not anymore. They still produce other ones that have gotten that beat. But at one time, they did present that in their, presentation. Eagle Rare is a 10-year. I understand that, but let me tell you, this is 100 proof because it is under government supervision and all the fun stuff that they do. So it is 10 years guaranteed under government supervision. Bottled and Bond Act from 1897. It's not just some 90 proof that can be 10 years old and say that. This is under all that supervision. It is from a single family distillery from 1935, Heaven Hill. They took that over. He was an Irish immigrant from back in the 1800s. Back when he was first doing whiskey, he was presenting over 3-year-old whiskey and selling it, whereas other people were getting their whiskey out as soon as it was made. So this goes back a long time. Didn't quite make it through Prohibition some other times. It was not rebranded. The brand was picked back up. I won't say some of the other parts. I'll just say that just in case he has a good rebuttal for this. Then the brand gets picked up by Heaven Hill, where it is now a Heaven Hill product, and it is a very well-balanced, great 10-year, and I think we should nose it now. And that is my first entering statement.
I would agree with that.
The color looks great for a 10-year.
What would you call that color, Justin?
That's almost like a dark amber to me.
Dark amber.
Yeah. It's got more of a red tint than I think than it does the yellow, but that I still get a little bit of the amber to that. Because, but I mean, looking across the table at yours and your glass, I saw a little bit more of that red.
Oh yeah.
And some people in my experience of going up across the different whiskey things, some people referred to bourbon at one point as red liquor. And I thought that was a really cool thing.
That is neat.
So then off the nose, yes, you do get a little bit of that 100 proof. It does let you know that it's there. But, Judge, please indulge me on that nose and tell me you don't get some amazing balance, a little bit of depth, a little bit of that dankness from that barrel because these are 10 years. And then, please, err on my side and you will come to the light of Henry McKenna being better.
I don't think you're supposed to beg me. I think you're supposed to convince me.
Objection, pandering.
Okay, so, okay.
Sustained.
Okay. My fault. No more begging. I'll just stick to the fact.
So tell me what you smell. This is obviously you're arguing the case of this bourbon. We're nosing it, so it's a beautiful color. What's the nose besides the heat? What else are you getting?
Right, so once you get through a little bit of that ethanol, you can dive into it. You get a little bit of that sweetness, and I'm going to go with caramel on this one. It doesn't have a honey or vanilla to me. Then after you get a little bit of that caramel, I get this little bit of ripeness to it. I'm not going to say that it's a fruit because it's not normally there in Henry McKenna, but there is a little bit of a ripe note to it. And then once I go past that, I get that depth. And that depth's going to be some of that dankness from those older barrels and that char that they use that's been sitting there a long time. And at this age, it's probably had a good bit of evaporation, so I get more of that barrel note to it, which could be those, what do they call it? The sugarized caramels or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do they tell you the level this came from? I actually don't know that with Henry McKenna. I assume they don't.
I've never looked it up for Heaven Hill. I don't know if they put it out there, but my guess is a level 4.
Yeah. I don't believe they do, but I could be wrong.
Definitely getting the older notes that you're talking about here, that kind of dunnage.
Yeah.
I would assume that I'm going to get the same notes. Coming in here with all of my preconceived notions erased, I'm assuming I'm going to get those same old notes in the Eagle Rare.
Now keep in mind, the history behind this brand, Judge, is a whole lot older, so we've got a lot of more care and supervision that's gone into creating this specific brand. Mm-hmm. So when I taste that, I just taste well done for a long time, not overdone. Because some of those, the char and the barrels get a little bit too much, it gets a little bit too dry. But I will tell you this up front, in this trying it, it does have a pleasant drying, and it does hug a little bit on that first sip. But to me, it's not overdone.
Are we sipping?
Some of them are, yes, I've already had the first sip.
Yeah, I have too.
Oh, wow, I'm behind. I gotta catch up.
And that first sip, now I'm on to the second one, it lowers that ethanol to almost nothing on the second one. Then you get more flavor. But this is going to roll back, and stay with me, Judge. And if you're trying Henry McKenna out there, everywhere, wherever you may be, I hope you're enjoying a drink with us while we're trying to pick these apart and convince the judge which one is better. This one has a little bit of a drying note, and it doesn't go away. That is that oakiness that this one possesses with this specific mash bill. And I think that's a good balance with that. And the rollback is where I get a little bit of warmth, but not much. And then the flavor comes back forward and sits right on the mid to forward part of my palate. And that right there, to me, is a well balanced with a standard mash. This is a rye mash. These are both rye mashes, but I have a feeling that if you are a Heaven Hill fan, that I don't see how you could possibly go against mine. Even if you weren't a Heaven Hill fan, with these two tonight, I believe this is going to bring more character, more depth to it.
The one word I didn't hear you say, Justin, that I typically hear associated with Heaven Hill is nutty. Nuttiness. Did you getting any of that on here?
I don't get the nuttiness from Heaven Hill. That's not one that I've ever gotten before. On occasion, with certain brands, not this one, I can understand what people are saying with nuttiness on that. I'm still on a non-descriptive trying to figure out that one. But I know what you're talking about, and I can definitely understand what you're saying there.
So, Charles, your rebuttal to the Henry McKenna?
So, definitely, no, I'm not getting the nuttiness either. I haven't with a lot of the Heaven Hill products, especially this one, no. To me, it is, I would say, it does have ethanol, even on the second, third, but it is a little bit more forward than I would expect from an Eagle Rare. Do get the notes.
It's also 10 proof points lower.
Well, that is true. That is true. But, very valid point. But
So may I interject, Judge? 10 proof points lower, that means mine has more flavor. Go ahead.
Or more alcohol?
Alcohol is a better solvent than water, so I'll let you have that. Sustained.
Okay.
But no, it is, I mean, it's a great 10-year. I do get it. I do get the oak. I get a more oak flavor than I do on this, especially. I get a big hug. I get the hug. It's more towards me for the hug on this is going to be more towards the tip. I don't get it the whole tongue on mine, more towards the tip. But I do get a little bit of that burning sensation down, but that's proof. I would say, yes, that is proof.
All right. I'd say then that's it for my opening. Charles, let's do some Eagle Rare, and we'll let you do your opening. Present your bourbon versus Henry McKenna.
So what we have here is a 10-year. Used to be a single barrel, but not anymore. Technicality there. Most likely it is, but you could have a little bleed through from the bottling process. It is a Sazerac with BT1, same as E.H. Taylor. So got that going for it. It is a 90 proof.
I object. E.H. Taylor has nothing to do with this.
But it
Sustained.
is. So I will go back.
Eagle
Yeah,
Rare.
very, very true. I will go back and say it is BT1. It is, to me, I don't know the lineage like Justin does. I just know Eagle Rare. Eagle Rare has been around. Like I said, has been. I think Zazaret got it in early 90s. Is that correct, Justin?
Yes.
Yep. So.
Well, it may have been, it's 90s.
Yeah, I believe it was.
It was acquired in the 90s, yeah. It is originally a Four Roses Prentice Distillery brand. And so with that being said, since you're giving me the opening, keep in mind, mine was not created to compete with another well-selling brand called Wild Turkey. They didn't need a fancy bird to compete with another bird at 8 years and 101 proof when they first rolled it out as a 10-year one.
There are no turkeys on this table.
No.
Unless the control is a turkey, you just haven't told me
And
yet.
so the old proof on this was equivalent to the 100.
This is true.
Yes.
Okay.
So now what we have here is the 90 proof. It is what it is. It's a 10-year, minimal 10 years.
Minimal 10 years. Has to be a minimum, just like the age statement. That's the youngest whiskey.
That's the youngest. So it could be more. We don't know. We will never know. So that is my opening arguments. Not much to it, but I'll just let the bourbon speak for itself.
So just to reiterate, your opening arguments is it's good.
Oh, it's the best. That's
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
in my opinion, it's the best. I'll let the bourbon speak.
And in my past experience with this is going to be an uphill battle because I actually know how good Eagle Rare is. And so when we try it, it is going to be tough.
So I've been nosing and sipping as the opening arguments were happening. So
Well, I'll
look at the color on that.
Yes,
the
please.
color is very similar, but I get a little bit more yellow to it, which means it's a little bit lower in proof.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will agree with that. It is more of a tan tint, a yellowish tint. It's not that amber color,
Right.
which is what I expect. You can look at that right here on the video.
I would say
from
like
the front and bottom.
like a fresh penny almost. Like
It's
it's
like a copper. It's got a nice little
copper
gold
color.
copper to it.
pretty
Yeah.
fresh penny. There.
So I will give you this. It has
That's
that.
good, Judge.
It has that great BT1 classic nose. It's got those sweeter notes in the nose. I'm not helping my cause here from McKenna.
No, so I'll go on to it. So.
say, sir, you're arguing your.
Yeah, I know you're arguing against it. So I'm just gonna sit here and just drink and let you do my job for
My
me.
fault.
If you just ask Justin a question with a whiskey in his hand, odds are he'll tell you something about it.
But no, nose on this, you can definitely tell. I do not get the alcohol, the proof on it at all.
No.
It is, to me, it has that fruity. You get the fruit flavors on there. You get that vanilla right up front. And to me, it's almost like that, I don't know, like a dark cherry, something.
Dark fruits.
So
Yes.
would you say this is, in the past, I would consider BT1 to be a pretty stereotypical bourbon nose.
Yes.
It is your vanillas, it is your caramels, you get a little bit of
Right.
fruit and some oak to it.
Yes.
Would you say this is any different than your typical BT1 nose?
To me, with this one, yes. I do not get, on the nose on this, I do not get nearly the oak that I would on some of the other BT1s.
And I'm glad that you said that, Judge, because let me go ahead and interject there as well. That is a perfect way to describe BT1. This is just another BT1 product slapped with an Eagle Rare label on it. Who is it versus another BT1? This is a specifically done, specific single barrel. That means they took the time to pick out that one single barrel.
Councilman,
Objection.
this is
Objection.
Charles's turn.
Yeah, and it's a same mash bill, but again, we always know, where is it in the Rick House? Rick House has a lot to do with it.
Location.
Location.
So tell me more about this single barrel, not single barrel ism here.
So what it was is these were at one point bottled by hand. So you knew you were getting it out of a straight bottle. Now it's in a bottling process.
So something like this
Yes.
fine gentleman back here.
Yes, indeed. Another Eagle Rare.
The original.
This
Yes.
one's 101 proof.
Yes, it's 101. Like I said, so
Hefty boy.
1% more than this,
Oh.
as it was.
It was.
But it's not anymore. It's 10 below. But so now what there is they're on a bottling line. There could be some bleed through. So possibly they can't really say that it's definitely all coming from the same barrel.
So
Majority of it is.
but there could be some other barrel mingling with it.
Yes.
Okay. Because they moved it away from that single barreling line, which is a completely different process, and now it's in the major bottling line.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I think
So why doesn't every single barrel product in the bourbon industry have that same issue?
Because most of them are bottled by hand.
Yeah.
Or
so-
like we do with your
Yeah,
barrels.
perfect. Like when we go do
Yes.
a barrel pick, which this is not related to this, but to try to answer your question.
But we're bantering about it.
Yeah, we got some bourbon banter at Bourbon Court.
Yep.
And we'll take a recess for a moment. So to answer that, like when we do our single barrels that we pick out at the store, you specifically go to that bottling line. It's a completely separate bottling line, and it is like literally pulled aside. It is those people's job at that moment to dump that one barrel into it. That's all that's in there. then they run through that line. Everything is done by hand. I'm not saying that this isn't done by hand or considered done by hand, but it's probably not going through that same line because of the production. You have more of them. Whereas it was originally, and there is a single barrel bottling line, and then there's your standard bottling line.
Right.
That's what I would equate that to, having been there in person and seeing both of those done.
Buffalo Trace at one point decided we're not going to do that anymore for Eagle Rare.
Essentially, keep up with production,
to keep up.
Yeah,
exactly.
Okay.
Understood.
All right, Bourbon Court back in.
Back in. So first
Recess
sip.
over.
First sip.
I feel like that was me evaluating this bourbon.
Oh,
it is.
I'm trying to
win.
trying to evaluate this bourbon.
I'm gonna win because I'm letting the bourbon talk for itself.
Mm-hmm.
So first sip. Oh, it's that fruity goodness of what I consider Eagle Rare. It's got that sweet right up front. Finish is so nice, so smooth. Mouthfeel is just silky on this. And going in for the second sip right now.
Judge, I'd like to point out that after that second sip, I feel like I got a little bit of a mouth coating, oily from the alcohol content, and I think that would definitely lean in the advantage in Henry McKenna because I did not get that.
I don't know. I would object because my palate, I do not get the oil. I get that it's almost like a silky smoothness on that. And right now,
oil is silky and smooth.
So
sustained.
Yeah. Henry McKenna, harsh going down.
Oh
yeah.
That's derogatory towards my bourbon, Judge.
I agree, but he's arguing why his is better. I feel like it's allowed.
So I feel like this is against me, guys.
Second sip though, do get a little bit of that hug from the 90 proof. Little bit, not nearly as much.
That's probably from the oak because it is a 10-year.
I know, but you keep saying proof, okay. So I'm throwing it back.
So, how would you describe the oakiness level compared to the Henry McKenna?
No. I would say Henry McKenna definitely, to me, has that more oak flavor. I don't know if it's probably most likely a different char on the barrel, and would be my assumption. I just don't get that much from the Eagle Rare myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they both use 3, don't they?
I think it's 4.
Okay.
I mean, it could be 3, but I think Heaven Hill uses 4. Which what we're talking about is barrel char as far as that goes. I'm not 100% sure on either one of those.
Tune in to the next episode of Bourbon Banter Evans to find out about
we
bourbon
can talk about bourbon char. Yeah.
But on the third,
you're welcome.
Sorry, on the third one, I definitely do get right there. It's just so smooth going back. Do get that dark fruity notes on there, and that's what I really.
Those dark fruity notes are heading in towards our third sip, which I haven't done yet. So I feel like, Judge, it's my turn to go back to my third sip since how we're still going on and on about how great.
Give
this
me the
Eagle
crux
Rare
of your case here with Henry McKenna.
Right, so now,
actually, tell me why Henry McKenna is better than Eagle Rare specifically.
Okay, now that we've had a little bit of flavor under our belt, and then we've got a little bit of sweetness on our belt, it's like brown sugar water compared to a true raw, natural, earthy tasting bourbon.
Strong words.
Now
Strong
we'll go
words.
back.
I object. It's only 10% lower, so it's not brown sugar water.
So now we'll go back.
There's no sugar in it.
There's no sugar in it.
Well, that's just a description. So we'll go back into the third sip for Henry McKenna, and then now you can see the dynamics from going to Eagle Rare back into it for that third sip. So if you guys would all like to join in,
So I'll go for my fourth then.
This is where are we doing? Eagle Rare? Or are we doing
Henry McKenna?
Henry McKenna. So then. That's going to roll back. You're going to have no ethanol at all. You're going to get nothing but flavor. That flavor is going to build at the tip, and then it's going to roll back real easy. You get hardly anything in the chest cavity, and then you get that natural earthy, that natural standard mash bill flavor that comes forward with a little bit of that kiss from the oak, if you want to call it that. Then it dries just a hair, but it stays real neutral on the palate, and it's real nice and easy. Therefore, for being 100 proof, one single barrel, not a bleed over, one single barrel, from a government bonded warehouse, which most of them are, it just
pretty much FDA is
the history,
put all the rot gut out of
the history that goes behind this and leading into it, and then the dedication to make sure this is always met up to the standard. They even talk about the dump date. So now let's just go to the bottle. So now we have barreled on dates, and then we have the barrel number specifically guaranteeing these things.
I object. It's handwritten. Anybody could write anything they wanted to on that.
Oh, you say that until you turn it around, and now you have your DSP numbers, which are fingerprints, essentially, as to where it comes from. So now we have DSP KY1 and DSP KY31, which is Bardstown and Louisville.
I took that one for the team.
Yes. Yeah. So now it's guaranteeing quality. Not only guaranteeing quality, but you can taste the quality in this brand right now in front of us. So I implore you to try a fourth sip.
I've had like 5, but
I know.
I'm going to go into
I'll go. Might as well just. Can I have the bottle?
I'll tell you what, gentlemen. So far, both of these whiskeys are phenomenal.
Yes.
They are both
This is
fantastic. What I'd like to talk about next, and I think is be a really important point for discerning which one of these two bottles one would prefer or one would purchase, is the value of these two bourbons.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Judge, since it's still on me.
I think Charles can go here.
Well, I'm going to leave it to the person that actually has the store because he can talk a price. I know the price point of this one. Cannot really remember the price point of this. It is substantially, I think, about $10 higher.
It's about $10 higher now. So a long time ago, these brands were a different price. So let's go ahead and type price for value for 10-year-old. That's very important. 10-year-old whiskeys. There are some 10-year-old whiskeys out there that are $130. These are 10-year-old whiskeys that are literally sitting at 48 right now. Years ago, $24.99 when we used to sell it. And then on a random time, you could get a deal and find it for $20, $19.99. But if you go back long enough, you can find Eagle Rare back then was around anywhere between $24, $27. It's been around $29.99 for 10 years running. It has now taken a price increase. Eagle Rare is now MSRP retail $39. So now we are talking about $8 difference.
Yep.
Henry McKenna's got a $48 price tag. Eagle Rare has a $39 price tag.
You think that's because of the proof?
I don't think it's because of the proof. But I can tell you this. Either one at those at MSRP, I think you'll be fine with it regardless. I don't guarantee that you're going to pick Henry McKenna or guarantee that you're going to pick Eagle Rare in a side-by-side, but I do think you're going to be getting a quality whiskey regardless for the price point. Do I feel that Henry McKenna leans on the barrel, the DSP, the fact that it's dump dates, the 100 proof, the government warranty?
A lot of buzzwords on there, sir.
That could dictate the price.
Like what? Well, I don't know. Some other allocated bourbon I know.
Oh boy,
puts it all out there, but we won't go there. Price point, I would agree. $8 difference, not substantial, but to me, you get this one, which is a better bourbon, at a cheaper price point.
So yours is $8 cheaper?
Yep, $8 cheaper for what I would consider a more fruity, not as ethanol forward bourbon.
That's pretty strong.
Well put, sir. I guess I have a follow-up question for both of you gentlemen, and that goes towards availability, right? Price point's one thing, MSRP, I think availability is important,
this
right?
Judge does not like me.
I would assume that the availability here is
the same.
Depending upon the stores, which we've talked about allocation and everything else like that, you are going to have a better chance, most likely, if you're up in the Atlanta area, of getting these.
Probably. And yes. I will say, because we're on the same team as far as the allocation goes with these two brands.
Yes.
So, not against Eagle Rare right now, not against Henry McKenna.
No.
But as an actual, to answer that question, which the judge brought up a great point.
Very great
Availability,
point.
You have to dock both of them a point.
Yeah.
So I cannot present to you why this is better because of availability, because it is not.
No, I mean,
this is just as hit or miss as this is.
Yes, it is.
And so that right there, I can't give you a closing argument whatsoever on either one of these for availability. They're literally hit or miss brand support.
Right.
It's brand support for that specific region, location, market, store gets you these brands.
Right.
So it's a dead tie. I can't say this one's better or that one is better.
What you're saying is they're both allocated. They both may or may not be hard to find.
Correct.
And they are close in price, $8
within
in
$8.
Right.
Within $8 at some stores, depending upon the store. MSRP. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So is it time to move on to closing arguments?
I think so.
gentlemen?
Closing arguments. All right. Join me with the pour. I hope you guys are while you're tuning in and seeing what we're doing with our 10 years. Hopefully you've got something 10 year as well. So in my closing arguments, I'm going to...
I should probably grab my gavel, I think.
This is true. Our gavel is a grenade.
Yeah. I'm already... it's Heaven Hill.
Should I grab a...
It's a Heaven Hill grenade.
Should I grab a Buffalo Trace gavel?
No.
There's a bunch over
I'm confident in mine.
Closing arguments. Join me on my side for the closing arguments, Judge. Grab them. We're doing... My closing arguments are going to be in a lightning round.
Lightning round?
Lightning round nose. Put your glasses just like this and nose them for a couple of seconds each. And I want to go left side, right side. So essentially, Henry McKenna, Eagle Rare. And if you guys have never done this, by all means, lightning round. We're going to go back to back. Not any water in between. No sips in between. Just one whiskey to the next. Whitney. Uncut, unfiltered.
Uncut, unfiltered. Which are the best bourbons?
The nose on the Henry McKenna, then the nose. All right, Judge, now join me in a lightning round. We're going to try one whiskey, then try the next whiskey. We'll go Henry first. This is when my closing arguments, the bourbon will speak for itself. Right off the finish, going straight to the Eagle. The Eagle Rare falls apart a little bit because it is so much more delicate. To me, the Henry stands up. It's got a little bit more umph to it as a natural tasting bourbon. Is the Eagle Rare bad? No. Is the Eagle Rare good? Yes. But it does lack a little bit because the character stands through that side-by-side pour when you're actually looking for a natural, earthy tasting bourbon, whereas the delicacy of that sweeter notes that Charles was talking about, which is 100% accurate, it kind of falls apart a little bit. And then when it does fall from this, it adds a little bit of ethanol to it, so you get more ethanol in that lightning round than you normally would. And so, Judge, that's my closing arguments for Henry McKenna and the W.
All right. So,
Thank you, sir.
for me, if I'm doing lightning round, again,
All right, I'll do it with you.
right off the bat, more spice on the Henry McKenna, more sweet, more that sweetness on the Eagle Rare. Definitely get that on the nose. So, when I just did that, and I'll go ahead and do it, Henry McKenna right here.
Or you want to do yours first?
No, I'm doing yours
Okay,
first.
we'll do Henry first.
Definitely getting the
Finish right into it.
getting the spice on their back end, tasting the ethanol. Very good though, but getting that spice. So now going to the Eagle Rare. Getting that sweetness up front, getting a little bit of the hug towards the center of my tongue from the, like we were talking about, from the oak, but I do not see it dropping off. I do not see it falling back. It finishes so smooth. Get the silkiness and everything from the oils, like you're saying. But to me, this has got a better flavor, a better body all the way through. To me, it does not have the spice. It's not as spice forward as the Henry McKenna. This, to me, you get the more spice. You do get a little bit of it, but you get the whole flavor from the fruits and everything up front, the sweetness, caramel, to the hug in the center, and just smooth all the way back.
So
well
balanced versus natural. I'm not supposed to say that.
So that, sir, would tell me that for this one is why you should be in favor of Eagle Rare for the W.
All right, those are our closing arguments. We're gonna adjourn for a second. We're gonna let the judge side. He's got a little bit of whiskey sitting right there. I think that Charles and I will talk for a brief second while he does a quick side by side. Let him figure this out. We're gonna let the judge do this. Charles, this has been pretty fun trying to figure out which one of these 10-year bourbons.
It is.
This is pretty tough.
It's to be honest with you guys, I love both of these.
I do too.
I do.
And so we just picked these based off of what we wanted to do. So don't look at this as I'm trying to say one thing or another.
No.
I like both of them equally.
I am a Heaven Hill person. I love Heaven Hill products.
I
love BT1 also.
BT1 is fantastic. I love BT1.
Right.
I'll take BT1 over BT2.
Right, and
sure.
we're making his job harder by
And so
talking about all this.
Let's go ahead and say this real quick, though. BT1 is more of their natural
it is.
mash bill. It's not their higher. I'm not saying high rye. It's just higher rye content than BT2.
Right.
This is going to be more along the lines of the same content, too, which this then develops the straight Heaven Hill versus what Buffalo Trace is doing with their barrels.
And to me, I probably should have said this in my arguments and everything, I think there's probably more rye in this mash bill than there is in this one.
They're actually really close.
Are they?
Yeah,
okay.
They're actually really close.
Okay.
Yeah. As far as their standard mash that Heaven
Or as
Hill
far as
sticks
what
to.
we know, because
Yeah.
the main Sazerac
thing,
does not publish theirs.
They don't, but you can estimate what
can.
the rye is because I've seen it on the computer when I actually got to do it at the distillery. And so that being said, the only thing that may be different is going to be your corn content.
True.
Just seeing what I've seen and been there when they were mashing what they were mashing and seeing and doing the breakdown on the computer when they did that, I'm going to just throw it out there. I don't know.
Right.
Because I'm not going to say that I do, but I'm going to guess just based off of what I saw on the screen. Heaven Hill naturally has a higher corn content.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm going to go with.
Which is surprising to me, to be honest with you, when you talk about this a little bit. But
it really does. It's amazing the difference between the distilleries and the bourbons that they're producing, even though they're great bourbons. And this is actually really fun. If you guys want to do a really cool side-by-side, or if you guys want to join us on the Bourbon Court, tell us what bourbons you want us to submit, or if you want to join in and you want to take one of our bourbons on, let us know. We can set that up.
Yeah, and please, guys, like everything else, hit that like button, subscribe down below, hit that button. Let us know what your thoughts are, what we can do better. like this is our first try at it. We're just having fun. That's what
This
we're
is
here to
our
do.
way of rating. I think it's a little bit more exciting rating this way.
Exactly.
Both bourbons we enjoy, and thank you again to Zach with All Equal Parts.
Appreciate it, Zach.
Have you come to a conclusion that Henry McKenna is better? And keep in mind, this is at this moment.
Pandering.
Not what you know from before. This is at this moment, what's in your glass at this moment.
And
everybody's palate changes throughout what you've eaten through the day, which is what's cool about doing it in the moment.
That's a great
versus
point.
I've had it in the past, and I like this one better.
That's a great point right there.
So
because
back to the judge, we'll let him finish. I think he's already said it. He's like I said, he's a professional. He does this as a career also, so he can definitely compartmentalize at this moment.
Yes.
So at this moment, judge.
So
What
at
are your
different
thoughts on it?
times in my life, in my bourbon career, I've favored one of these two bottles over the other.
Completely understandable.
Right.
Completely understandable.
And
Definitely.
I think that they both bring a lot to the table. You have a little bit higher proof point, a little bit more of those caramel toffee notes in the Henry McKenna. You also have the added accolade of being bottled in bond, one distiller, one season, single barrel, obviously, and 100 proof exactly. Awesome consumer protection right there, Bottled in Bond Act. And then you have the delicious BT1 classic, like OG mash flavor from a bourbon, right? This Eagle Rare flavor just like hits all of those stereotypical bourbon notes. That is just fantastic. Now, if I'm picking one of the two, and I'm not going to pick which one I like better, I'm going to choose the one who I believe the better case has been made for.
Oh, so you're gonna throw a different dynamic in there.
It's different. This is the first one, so
This is true. I like that.
I very easily can tell you which one of these two I like more, and I could have after the very first nosing, and I don't think that that's really going to help anybody. So I'm going to say that the opening arguments for the Eagle Rare were largely about what it used to be, versus the opening arguments for Henry McKenna was about what it is. And because of that, and only that, I rule in favor of Henry McKenna.
there we go.
Oh, you kidding me?
There we go.
That is an uphill challenge right there. Because personally, in a side-by-side just tonight...
So you just wanted you to tell me how I'm wrong. Is that
no,
Personally, I'm telling you, tonight...
He thought he was going to lose.
No, I thought I was going to lose, but tonight I was actually digging on the Henry McKenna right now at this moment. But I think it has to do with what I ate.
This also might just be a honey barrel because we just opened this.
That is true. That is true.
And the problem is, I don't have the knowledge this guy does.
No,
I
nobody
can't,
said
I
that.
can't
Nobody-
regurgitate it.
Nobody has ever said that.
No, guys, honestly, thanks. This has been fun.
This has been super fun. So
been
let me throw this in. What is our time looking like?
We're probably about 40.
Okay.
40-ish.
So what we're going to do is I say, well, you need a glass. Let's do this versus the control real quick. And I got an empty glass, so
I've got an empty glass.
Is
And
this clean? Can I grab that?
yeah, that's what that's for.
Wonderful. We're doing the McKenna versus.
Yeah. So we're tight on time, but we're going to do the control real quick. We appreciate you guys joining in. Hope you had a good pour with us.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out
Thank you for humoring me. by the
He's
way.
not. He's not bumping up because hey, I won.
No, but I
I honestly
hope-
thought how you was going to tell me that I was wrong.
Yeah.
Immediately after I said, I think you won.
Right.
Well, let me tell you why you're wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
No. Well,
You
I'm
can't.
I'm
you're-
stoked
this is.
right
You
now,
can't be
man.
wrong in bourbon.
No, you can.
You can't be wrong in bourbon.
And you can't get mad at it because
No.
it's all about good times and good fun. So what we're gonna do is now we're gonna do a pour of our control. Welcome to the Seagram's VO bottle from the late '80s, early '90s. I
Yes.
still don't know that for sure. I know roundabout when my dad, I relieved duty of his bottle, which we talked about. So hopefully you guys have had a chance. If you get a chance to get these two, do a side by side. It's a completely different.
Do it, guys.
Profile.
I mean, it's so different, but they're both so good.
So
Yeah.
this is one of the very first bottles of bourbon I've ever bought in my entire bourbon drinking career, Eagle Rare,
He's talking so pour it.
and I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. And then about 5 years later, I actually found Henry McKenna on the shelf, and I was like, "Oh, try this," because it was reasonably priced, and I thought that was fantastic. And both of those kind of serve different gateways for me personally.
Yeah, when it won.
Oh,
when it won Bourbon of the Year and, everything, and that just
greatly,
greatly
inflated the
it did.
price. Yeah,
What
you
was-
started seeing it on the shelves for like $80.
What was interesting is it won Bourbon of the Year at the San Francisco World Spirits Festival in, I think, 2017, and then the price didn't jump up much.
It was,
and
right
then a
out.
year later,
Yes.
it won Whiskey of the Year at the San Francisco Spirits Festival, and then everything jumped up really high.
So how about that control versus these? And this is gonna be a tough one, Charles.
To be honest with you,
I get a little bit more ethanol.
I get more ethanol on the Control. Definitely get more ethanol, but
and our Control is good.
the Control is very good. But
Yeah.
I do get the earthy notes on this. I
I
get more.
I get more baking spice.
I get more of the spice, but
This is sweeter to me. This is
Really?
it's spiced
Oh,
and
man.
sweeter. This is more
tried it yet?
butterscotch.
and so that's what I love. We have
Oh.
three totally
This is
totally different
sweet.
people here, and we're getting different things. That's what's fun about trying bourbons.
This Control needs to be submitted versus these. I think our Control is onto something. This is
Do you
a
know?
nice
Do
little
you guys
sweetness.
remember those red candy
Yeah.
wrappers? You guys are a little older than me, but well, I don't know how old you are, but I know how old Justin is. You had those candies, and like they're kind of cinnamon flavored. My grandma would have them. And
Oh, yeah,
you take
yeah,
them out, it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
cinnamon, but it's sweet, and that's kind of what I'm getting.
See, I do get it, but this one
There's
it
a
is-
there's a character I still refuse to say about this one
This
because
one-
I'm not going to give it away. But if you fight through what you're talking about and get through it and let it sit for a while, you get that specific character, which is why me and him picked it.
Yep.
I also
There's a
don't know
Control,
what
yeah.
this is,
But-
by the way.
But right on the tongue, you get that little bit of spice and everything
Yeah.
else like that. But for me, it's only on the tongue. After
Yeah.
that is when all the flavor starts
Yeah.
kicking in.
So I'm glad we're doing the Control. I say we call it here at this point. Thank you guys again. Hopefully I'm gonna start.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys had a good time. I can't say hopefully anymore on camera. So let's go with. If you get a chance, do these in a side-by-side. If you have a different tenure, by all means do that as well. Do it in a blind. The Bourbon Court moving forward, more than likely the judge, which
More
it could be
blind.
any judge. It's just he's the first judge that we wanted to do because he's a professional.
And he's got a
thank
great
you
palate.
very much for doing that.
Great
Great
palate.
palate.
Yes.
And so it
You're
might
welcome,
be,
gentlemen. I'm happy to be here.
it might be Charles. It might be me. It could
Yeah.
be someone else that does the judging.
I would like to come in and plead a case at some point.
Oh,
Well,
we're down
we
with
can
it.
do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
We
we're
can
doing
do
that.
it. That'd be fun.
So
Yeah.
if you get a chance, most of the time, what we're going to do this is blind. And so I encourage anybody that's wanting to do these things. It's super fun to do it blind. You have no idea what it is.
Yep.
You are literally then just trying to figure out which glass is better at that moment. Doesn't mean it's going to be better the next day, or if it was better when you tried it before.
Right.
But if you don't know what it is, you'll be surprised of how your senses pick
Yeah.
up different notes.
And every day is going to be different. But honestly, everybody, this has been fun. Hit the like button, subscribe down below, and I think we're going to call it quits.
Sounds like
Cheers.
good.
Cheers, everybody.
Bourbon Banter Evans at Bourbon Court. Thank
Yep,
you guys.
thank you.
Cheers.